It's 11 at night, and you've typed the whole thing out. 17 words. Could you call me tomorrow? I've had a rough week. You read it back. It's true. It's polite. It's nothing you'd blink at if a friend sent it to you. And then you watch your own thumb move. Delete, 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 until the box is empty again. So you type something else instead. Hey, just saying hi. Hope you're good. And you send that one. And here's the part worth an entire night. You feel relief. So that's what I want to sit with tonight. Not why the enormous things are hard to say. Everyone knows why those are hard. You don't need me for those. The strange thing is the size of it. It was a phone call, 20 minutes, from someone who loves you. So why does the smallest possible request feel like standing at the edge of something? Start here because everything else follows from it. You weren't afraid of the phone call. You were afraid of the sentence. Because a request carries two things. On the surface, could you call me? Underneath, quieter, I need you. You can ask a stranger for the salt and reveal nothing at all. Ask a friend to call you, and you've handed over a map. A map to where you're soft, where you can be reached, where if they wanted to, they could miss. And a map doesn't come back. You can withdraw the request. You can't withdraw the fact that you want it. Which is why you never send a sentence bare. You dress it first. No ruse. If you're free, whenever suits, it's honestly not a big deal. Listen to what those actually are. Every one of them is a retraction placed in advance. You're not making the request smaller. The request was already small. You're making yourself smaller inside it. You build the exit before you've walked in the door. And you do it so smoothly that it doesn't feel like anything. It feels like manners. It feels like being considerate. That's how good this thing is at hiding. So where did the price get set? Because somebody priced this and it wasn't tonight. Long before you could have explained any of it, you were running a very careful experiment. The subject was the people who loved you. The question was simple. What happens when I ask? And no one has to have been cruel for this to go the way it went. There's no villain here. There's just a house with hours in it. Sometimes you asked, and the answer was yes, and it was warm, and it was everything. Sometimes the answer was not now, which is fine, which is fair, which is what tired people say. And sometimes there was no answer at all, just a sound in your direction. And that one was the worst, because a no is a reply. That was weather. So you did the arithmetic. All children do. You just did it well. Two prices. Not asking costs a small steady ache that never really stops. Asking costs a rare, sharp drop. And a child will take the ache every single time. Children are not built to survive drops. So you took the deal. And I want to be clear about something. It was a good deal. It worked. You became easy. You became the one who never needed anything. And they noticed. So, independent. Never any trouble. Such an easy child. Do you hear what happened there? Your need went quiet, and the house handed you a medal for it. Nobody mentioned the deal had no end date. Now go back to what you actually did with that message tonight, because it's more precise than it looks. You didn't avoid the answer. Look closely. You gave yourself the answer. No rush at all. That's a no, in your own handwriting. Because a no from them lands somewhere you can't reach. It arrives without warning, and you have to stand there while it does. A no from you can absorb. You know its weight. You know exactly where it's going to land, because you're the one throwing it. So you become the one who turns you down, quickly, before anyone else can get there first. People call this fear of rejection, but that isn't quite it. It's more particular than that. It isn't the rejection you're managing. It's who does it. You'd rather be turned down by the only person guaranteed to stay. And it's fast. It happens before you notice it was ever a decision. It doesn't feel like a strategy. It feels like tact. It feels like knowing they're busy. It feels like a personality. I'm just low maintenance. I've always been like this. That's the sentence I'd sit with the longest. I'm just low maintenance. That's not a description of you. That's the deal, wearing your clothes, speaking your voice. Here's the cost. It's quiet, and it takes about a decade to become visible. Because you never ask, they never give. Not because they wouldn't have. Your friends aren't refusing you. Nobody is withholding anything. They're doing something much more ordinary than that. They're taking you at your word. You told them you were fine. They believed you. You worked harder on that sentence than any other sentence you said all year. And then some Tuesday, 3 years in, the ache arrives. You look around and think, nobody shows up for me. And you have evidence. Real evidence. Years of it. Nobody offered. Nobody asked. Nobody came. But look at the experiment you ran. You removed the one condition under which any of it could have happened. You've been reading the result as a verdict on your worth. It's a verdict on the setup. The loneliness is real. I'm not going to argue with the loneliness. The conclusion is the part that isn't true. And here's how it closes. Every unmet moment confirms the original arithmetic. See? Asking would have cost me. Cheaper this way. The strategy keeps producing its own proof. And it hands that proof to you, gently, like it's doing you a kindness. Now I want to turn the whole thing over, because underneath all of this is something I don't think it's about at all. Be honest with me. If your friend had written back, sorry, tomorrow's mad, is Thursday okay? You have survived that. Easily. You survived far worse than Thursday. So it was never really the no. It's the information. Asking would have told you something. Where you sit. What you're worth to them, priced out loud, in real time. And as long as you don't ask, that number stays unknown, which means you get to keep believing they would have said yes. That's what the deleting is for. It isn't protecting you from rejection. It's protecting a hope from being tested. As long as the message stays unsent, you are still someone whose friend would have called. And you have needed that would have for a very long time. So no, I'm not going to tell you to send it. You've been told that. It didn't help. It didn't help because the advice was aimed at the message, and the message was never the thing. None of this was cowardice. It was arithmetic. A small person in a quiet house, working out the cheapest way to be loved. And they got it right. For that house, with those hours, that was the correct answer. It's just that the house is gone, and the arithmetic stayed. So the next time it's 11 at night, and 17 true words are sitting there in the box, watch your thumb. You'll still delete them, probably, and the relief will still arrive, right on time. You'll just know now that it isn't safety. It's the sound of a question deciding not to be answered.